Brothers and sisters, October 23rd, Saturday, is our state emergency preparedness day. We've chosen to, in that day, go forward with a map your neighborhood plan, which will allow us to meet with our neighbors, to understand the needs and the opportunities that we have as neighbors to work together in times of an emergency. Terry Clark has had the opportunity. Terry, I understand you've had the opportunity recently to meet with your neighbors. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
You bet. So what we did in our neighborhood, we prepared the Willow Island Emergency Preparedness Plan. Many people in my neighborhood were very sensitive about emergencies because we recently had the ice storm where we live. It blocked off all the roads. No one could get in, no one could get out. We had to chainsaw our way for a day to even have access for even emergency vehicles. So we took around this very same plan. I met with a number of the neighbors. I talked with them. And one of our neighbors got very excited about it and was willing to help prepare the information, found that everybody actually was quite excited. And so we put together a booklet. It's patterned after this one, and in the booklet we have, the first and most important thing is the neighborhood directory. Everybody's listed, their names, their phone numbers, their email address. And then the other information is very similar to what is in here, and that is we went through and identified and mapped our neighborhood. So everybody had a map of what our neighborhood looked like, exactly who the people were, where they lived, and so forth. And most importantly, who was there? Was it a single woman? Was it a family with a bunch of young children? Was it anybody with a handicap, somebody with a wheelchair? So we kind of knew who was there and what possibly would be their challenges. We then have the Westland emergency contacts, everything from what to do with roadkill to how to turn out the gas line. But it was important that you have all those numbers, police, fire, obviously electricity, water, and all the other things, phone, internet. We had some contractors listed. We went through in this booklet as well, and we actually then even had some simplified things regarding first aid, and just at a glance, just a quick summary, almost like a first aid card that would remind you, oh, that's right, that's what CPR is. Oh, that's what you do with a burn. Here's what we do if somebody's choking or has shock and you're panicked for a minute. And then a list of supplies and things that somebody ought to have in their home. And this is kind of the FEMA thing, very similar to the church preparedness and emergency essentials, where you're talking about you should have some food, some water, you should have some matches, you should have some basic things like maybe, what if you didn't have shelter, you've got a sleeping bag, if you got a tent, etc. So that lists out some things for our neighbors. In my neighborhood, there are no LDS people, it's us. And we were surprised to see how many people didn't have anything. And if they had a disaster, it's a disaster. And my wife said out of self-defense, I don't want them all coming to our house. And so that's what we did. It was extremely well received. We met yesterday and had a dessert potluck. We had about 20 people came, maybe 25, 30 if you throw in the kids, but that many adults. And we went through the program. We made assignments. We talked about where we'd meet. We talked about who had different things, and everybody signed up. I've got a generator. I've got a chainsaw. I've got a four-wheel drive truck. Oh, I have ladders and ropes and a come along and so forth. And so that was our information and organization. Picked a few people who would carry the thing on, and it worked out really well.
Thank you, Terry. Now, we each know that there are going to be times when we will have emergency events that we will not have first responders to come to our homes. So it's up to us to be prepared. And this is the plan right now to help each of you, along with your neighbors, to become prepared for those natural events that are sure to happen. We've had, within our recent memory in the last year, we've had wildfires, we've had ice storms, we've had heat, all those sort of things created an emergency event for many of our neighbors and many of ourselves. So we want to be prepared, and so we look forward to your participation and your help in helping us to become prepared. Last thing is that each ward has an emergency preparedness specialist. So those of you who are wanting to move forward with this, if you could please contact your emergency preparedness specialist or your priesthood leader, Relief Society leader, ward council. They're all involved. Thank you very much. Thank you, Terry.